the arbitrator was not a fan across the board. They found one joke was, quote, insightful, principled, and serious, but not very funny. Slyman said he was disappointed by this review.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Here's another story that really kind of illustrates the value of union membership. Comedy being legal again at NPR. There was a reporter who was fired last year, and this is in Vice, wrote about this. The title is Fired Comedian Ordered to Get Day Job Back After Jokes Ruled, quote, Simply Funny, by Jules Roscoe. So Jad Slyman was a reporter in Philadelphia before he was fired over his comedy career, and now an arbitrator said that the employer has to reinstate him. And so the reason that he was fired is because Philadelphia-based NPR member station, WHYY, said that his comedy clips, which covered topics including 9/11, Israel, and oral sex, could violate the company's social media policy. And so that's why they did it. And he said that they were, not only did they fire him, but they were just really petty about it. They took down all of his articles. They cut off my health insurance the same day, despite the fact that they know I have multiple sclerosis and rely on very expensive drugs to walk. I mean, really kind of just gross stuff. Really, really gross stuff. And so, yeah, senior management found clips of his stand-up comedy routines egregious. With sexual connotations, racial connotations, and misogynistic information. I'm not sure that I understand what those words mean, to be honest. Misogynistic information. What is that? I don't know.
It's information that's misogynistic. What do you not get?
I don't know. I guess so.
I guess I'd have to hear it to know what's misogynistic about the information.
But in a compromise in the arbitrator, he did have to take down all of his comedy posts from social media. So we can't review his jokes, which is very unfortunate. The comedy, Slyman says, focused on his, quote, experiences as an Arab American raised in a Muslim family, his experience in the Marine Corps, and his reporting while in the Middle East. So one of his jokes that his management didn't like was, I work at one of these places that's so woke, it's kind of racist. Like this lady asked my boss, she's like, yo, does Jad consider himself a person of color? Because she was making a list of us. Fucking hell? Sick. All right, I get to be in this lady's brown dude Pokedex. So, there you go. So that's some of the jokes that he was fired over. But he is now going to be reinstated after the arbitrator's ruling. He was represented by SAG-AFTRA grievance lawyers, and they argued that he had been terminated without due process. So that's the unfortunate cold water on the ruling, is that the arbitrator didn't say that he gets his job back because his jokes were funny. Rather, he gets his job back because the bosses did not follow the discipline procedure. And if they had properly followed it, the arbitrator said they could have gone through with the firing.
Interesting. Yeah. Well,
which is a bummer. But, hey.
That is why, a union is very important. I mean, it's one of the reasons why, because you never know when you're going to get in trouble. And you want someone to have your back. And, unions fight for employees to have due process, for there to be fair, equitable procedures to discipline employees when there is trouble. And when the bosses don't follow those procedures, that's on them. That's their fault. And it's the union's role to catch that and to enforce it. So good on SAG-AFTRA for getting this fellow his job back, Don't know anything about his comedy. Don't know if it's offensive or not. Frankly, I'm not going to sit here and take a position on something I don't know. But what I do know is that workers deserve due process. And so if the employer did not follow that, good on him for getting his job back.
Yeah. even though he didn't get his job back because his jokes were funny, the arbitrator's ruling did perform, according to Vice, quote, an in-depth analysis of the 9 comedy samples to determine whether they were in violation of this reading of the policy. And so of the joke titled Kind of Racist, the arbitrator wrote that it was a, quote, powerful condemnation in a funny way of what Slyman calls corporatized racial consciousness. About, quote, Trump versus Muslims versus Jews, he wrote that much of the clip is somewhat amusing. Another joke was, quote, simply funny. But the arbitrator was not a fan across the board. They found one joke was, quote, insightful, principled, and serious, but not very funny. Slyman said he was disappointed by this review. So yeah, there you go.
I got it.
Story.
I once had an arbitration about myself, and the ruling was not so fun to read. Nothing like that.
Yeah. Vice asked him, or in his interview with Vice, he said, "People keep asking me, is it going to be weird going back?" I'm like, yeah, for them. So
exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Nothing to be weird about on his end. Just go into your thing, and I bet you they'll follow due process next time they want to fire somebody.
There you go. Yeah. So that's really exciting. Pretty cool. Even though there was a little bit of cold water thrown on it. It's not as fun as the headline might imply, but nevertheless, it's still a good story and a good illustration of the value of union membership. Because even in cases where management has a right to fire you, they should have to follow the process. You should have due process, just like people accused of crimes in our criminal justice system. They should have due process. And so should workers. Bosses shouldn't have unilateral authority to do whatever the hell they want, because that's dumb. They shouldn't have that power. And the only way to take that power from them is by unionizing. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.